Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Excuse me. Happy Sunday to you. Welcome to our first of two live streams. Today, we are starting off on the Peninsula corridor on Train Sim World 2. So, I'm just going to give you a quick overview. If you buy the route, the base route comes with this locomotive right here, the F40PH. And then you get the matching gallery cab car. Then, it does come with this Union Pacific locomotives. You can do a couple freight services on this route. They're not very fast, and basically you're taking stuff from just south of San Francisco down to going south towards San Jose, and then you pull off and disconnect the locomotive from the trains, and then you're done. For additional, I don't know how much it costs now, but you can get this MP36 is the baby bullet, basically. Very popular locomotive. The cab, and it's got the bi-level cab car that goes with the locomotive. The cab car runs from San Jose to San Francisco, and when you're going from San Francisco to San Jose, you're in the MP36PH. So very cool route. It's one of the older routes. It's part of the preserve collection. Now, if you have the previous version of Train Sim, I think it's Train Sim 2020 or 2019 or whatever it was, the previous one before Train Sim World 2 came out. If you bought this route and everything that was available for it, then you can download it for free on Train Sim World 2. So, I'll make sure we're running correctly here because it's starting to buffer already. There we go. All right. So, if you've got the old one, and it might be cheaper to buy this route on the old one, then you get everything for free on Train Sim World 2. So check that out. So we're gonna go ahead and do this one. Let's get in here, and I've done all the services on this route, as you can see, except for this all stop and moving from the depot. But generally everything has been done on it. But that doesn't stop us from doing that again. So we're going to do it would be essentially like a evening service, rush hour, about 4:30 in the evening. Some people might be heading back towards San Jose after working up in the city. So we're going to go do this one. It takes about an hour 6. So we'll have some stops on the way, but it should only be a few. I'm not sure how many, but I don't remember. And the one thing I wish they would do is they would have a list of what stops you have on that particular service. So that way you know. Good morning, Mick. So that way you know what you're getting yourself into, ahead of time. So let's go ahead. Now I'm going to show you all the setup. I'm going to try to go through it very slowly because we're not in a rush. It's fine. So let's go ahead and get in here and get our locomotive set up. So you get your reverser, that's that, get that going, and then start getting your brake stuff, get the doors open. Now the train is not necessarily set up to go. You have to turn on all this stuff right there. Oops, the other one's right there. So the fuel, the generator, and then the last one there. I wish. There we go. The engine run, and we'll get our lights on. We got to get our that on so we have lights in our for our passengers. Get that going. And we need to get our, what else is there? Step lights on. I always like to put all the lights on that I can. Now, what I used to do, and I got chided for it by a couple knuckleheads, that I would have basically... Oh, I gotta release the brake. Duh. I would put the marker lights on the front too, even though that's not not what you're supposed to do. So yeah, a couple people got a little... That's not the way it's supposed to be. Dude, it's not that serious. It's just a fun game. Hold on, you know. Calm your tits. So, this is the San Francisco station, back there behind us. Right there is Pac Bell Park. I don't call it anything else. You'll never hear me call it by any other name because it will always be Pac Bell Park. That's the baseball stadium for the San Francisco Giants. There's kind of like downtown there. From here, if you walk out the station, it's like 2 blocks to Pac Bell Park, and then you can keep on going. You can see just a bit of the Bay Bridge there, so you can walk all along the waterfront there. And you can keep walking. You'll run into Fisherman's Wharf and all that other kind of stuff. So. You get the bell. If you hit the horn, the bell automatically comes on with it. It looks complicated, but it's not. It really isn't. Once you know how to set it up, and then of course now we have our lights on in our passenger area. So, and then there are conductors in the passenger area in real life they check tickets. If you get on at some of the smaller stations, they will go in and ask to see your ticket. If you don't have one, you have to pay there, or you get fined. Basically, that's how it works. But what most people try to do is they try to figure out, they time it where they'll get on and then try to hop off at the next station or two before the conductor goes back through the passenger areas to check tickets. So yeah, some people are very sneaky about that. And then I think towards the last car has a place for bicycles. It's like on the it's on the lower end. There's a spot where you can strap your bicycle in on it, like a, let's see, is it this one? Yeah, so you can put your bike in here if you will. And that was a very popular thing for many people. They would ride their bike to the train station and then take the train up to the city and then bike from the train station in San Francisco to their job or whatever, instead of driving, which is what they were trying to get people to do, is to to use public transportation. But at first they were, the Caltrain, which runs the line here, they were a bit they weren't too, the idea of having a separate bike area, and I think there was a writer who proposed it, and they finally agreed that they would have space for bicycles on the train. So that people could ride their bike to the train station and take the bike with them. Otherwise, you would have to lock. There was like a bike locker at the train station, but after a while, people figured out a way to break into those. One of the older. So the difference is with this train set here, The brakes are what they call a lapping brake system, and it's one of those. It's like you got to really spend the time getting familiar with it. It's a bit of a challenge, but if you have this one, it is much easier to brake and keep the train under control. So this is generally the first stop. If it's an all-stop service, generally you stop here at this first station. This station has improved. Like when I remember when I first was riding this route in real life, this station right here was one of the worst. It was like it was one of those scary freaking stations. Like I would never want to get off there, day or night. It just was in a very bad part of town. It just looked very sketchy, and but they have improved it over the years. But it's just a really nasty looking place. But it's gotten improved. But yeah, it's just ugh. So we're going to stop off at Bayshore, which is the stop where Candlestick Park used to be. That you could take the train to Bayshore, and then there used to be, of course, this Candlestick is gone. They've demolished it, but I think you could take a shuttle or there'd be a bus service of some kind that would take you over to Candlestick for when the 49ers played football there, or when the San Francisco Giants played baseball there. And it was the site of the the Bay World Series between Oakland and San Francisco in 1989, when we had the really terrible earthquake, and those rat bastard Oakland A's won the World Series. I'll never forgive them for that, because ever since then they if you see the movie Moneyball, the fact that they've never, despite all the things that they've done, they've never gone back to the World Series. Billy Ball is just not gone quite the way Billy Beane had hoped it would. But anyways, I'd rather be a Giants fan than an Athletic supporter. That's the joke we'd always tell. So if you know what an Athletic supporter is. So I'm guessing you fared okay with the storm last night, huh, Mick? So there are a couple short tunnels here. Now, the way the route used to be, and this was way before Caltrain. This is back when Southern Pacific ran the line. I'm thinking this is the stop that's for, so Bayshore is farther. Boy, I'm all over the place today. Bayshore. Oh, it said go via Bayshore. Okay, so that was so yeah, we are on the faster part of the line right now, essentially. Let's see. I forgot. Oh yeah, the storm. Yeah, so I'm guessing you did okay, Nick. You guys didn't have too much damage or whatever, which is good. Hopefully, but yeah, for those of you who missed yesterday, Nick and I had a really fantastic flight in the Spitfires that will be premiering later today on YouTube. So do check that out. If you haven't seen it already or you haven't watched it on Twitch, really fun flight. We both managed to land. Though it was a bit suspect there for a bit, but till 1:30, but I had to wait till the girls were off to sleep, so I was about 3, I went to bed. Oh, okay. Kids are always a bit worried when there's a massive storm like that. They're just like, especially if you're not used to it, it can be a bit much to deal with. So, all right, Millbrae. We're heading to Millbrae, which is the big station, I believe. It seems like it's been and I've been on, the last time I was on this route in real life was last year. Yeah, it was last year. Matter of fact, I went to Virginia for a couple days for a car show there in downtown Roanoke, and then I went to Vegas to see my friend in Vegas for a couple days. And then I went to San Francisco for a couple days. And then I went to Savannah for a few more days. Was there through 4th of July weekend, and then came back home. And it was not long after that is when Microsoft Flight Simulator was released. It's been a year already. Whew. Can't believe it. But I did ride, the MP36 and the new bi-level, these were the newer train sets on the Peninsula corridor in real life for many years, but they weren't necessarily running when I was home, so I had to take the older trains, the original gallery cab car that were built in Japan. I think I have pictures of it. Grateful. Yeah, we made it. That's the important thing. We landed. We were able to taxi off the runway and park it. So, anytime we can do that, that's a good flight. I would agree. But yeah, I think if you look on my Flickr, there should be, and I think there's a link for it in the. Yeah, it'll be on in a couple hours, Jody. I think about 10:45-ish, I think, is when I have it set up for the premiere. Yeah, we had a great time, and I think it was good that I landed first, and then I could kind of help see Mick coming in, and and I was like, I knew he was coming in. It was like he was coming in a little too fast. So, but no, it was a great flight, very scenic stuff. So, yeah, we had a great time. I really enjoyed that. It was nice to have somebody along that I knew and all that. We should have probably done some kind of a chat. Maybe we should have done an in-game chat or something. Just so we could have talked to each other while we were flying. So a lot of this whole route has changed as they're electrifying the line. I kind of talked about it before, but when they were in the process of checking the whole line, they discovered that there was a lot of damage underneath the rail bed. You know, like it was surprising that it lasted as long as it did, because you have all this rail traffic going back and forth daily. This is the Bart Line, the Bay Area Rapid Transit line, that for many years, one of the things that they were always proposing was, could they get the Bart Line to go to San Francisco International so that passengers could ride. It would be instead of driving a course and having all the vehicle traffic at the airport and everything, this was a much easier way. So even people from the South Bay, you know, San Jose area, you could take the train to Millbrae, hop off, go across to the BART platform, and then you could take the BART from Millbrae to San Francisco International. I gotta get on the brakes here, otherwise we're gonna close our station. I don't want to do that. So that helped out a lot, so that people don't have to drive or anything like that. They were, you know, the Bay Area, there was so much traffic on the road that, you know, it can get really ugly, especially during rush hours, you know, in the morning and in the evening. So that did help out quite a bit. And basically that runs on a third rail electric. That underneath that white cover is the third rail, and it has like a thing that hovers over the rail to draw the power off of that for the train. We're a little past the marker, but that's okay. We're still on the platform. Not a perfect stop. So I did, when I went to San Francisco, I stayed. I got off here, and then my hotel was not far from here. It was up, there's a main street up there. Oops, did I unlock the wrong doors? I did.
The doors are about to close.
And that's what they sound like exactly. That beeping in the voice. I always like to ride upstairs because you can kind of see a little bit more from there, and it's a little bit more comfortable, I think, up there.
Caution, the doors are about to close.
I just always go full throttle right away. That old train station building is still there. I saw it. Yes, I have, Jody. This one and the F40 with the gallery cab car, which is that was built in Japan and then shipped over to San Francisco. Those ones were built in the 1980s. After a while, they were looking for a faster train to do quicker services, because the other trains were a little bit slower. So then they got these, and so this train system, and then so this was like the faster, sleeker looking train on the route, and so you would see both, but predominantly these were maybe one or two stops along the way, you know, to kind of go those very specific areas where there was, you know, so they, but these were, you know, if you were waiting for a train, these would predominantly just go blasting through a station quick, because they, you know, they were trying to get people to like from San Jose to San Francisco, for instance, or vice versa, with very few stops. But then, as time went on, I think they've changed the timetable where there's not many super fast services anymore. I didn't really see these running when I was there last year. So yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know if they've just taken them out of service and running the older trains, which I would have thought they would have taken the much older stuff off the line and kept these going, but I don't know, it's a bit of a, but yeah, this is what I consider this my home route. I've been, when I was working and living kind of in San Jose, one of my co-workers and I would take the train from the station that we're going to be stopping at the end. We would go there, catch the train up to San Francisco to watch the Giants play at Pac-Bell Park. And then the great thing was that if you, if the Giants weren't winning, if they were way out of it by the 7th inning, or as they call it, the 7th inning stretch, you could walk. We would just leave early and then catch a train and head back to San Jose before. Oh, thank you, Mick, for that. Appreciate that. So it was a much easier way to, because if we went up early enough, generally, we would go down to Fisherman's Wharf and have dinner there, and then go back to the stadium, because it wasn't a very far walk, really. So we would just kind of hang out and enjoy the city and just have fun, and then we would go watch the game, and then if by a period of time we knew they weren't going to win, but that was kind of where we were at when Barry Bonds hit his 500th home run. It was his last at bat, and so we walked around and we were getting ready to leave, and it was his last at bat, so we figured if he strikes out, we're just going to go. And we were looking, I'll never forget, looking right down the first base line. He jacks it. The Dodgers were so demoralized, and it was so great to see. I'm not going to lie. It was just the best feeling in the world to see your arch rival so demoralized, because not only did he hit number 500, but it was the game-winning home run on top of it. And then they stopped the game, and the Dodgers knew ahead of time. They were told, if he hits it, we're going to stop the game, we're going to honor number 500, and then we'll continue. And it was just, they were so demoralized. It was epic. And they had to stand there and take it. They couldn't do anything. They just had to take it. Oh man, it was so glorious. It was like the big middle finger to the Dodgers that day. We don't get many chances like that, but oh, it was sweet. It was so sweet. Oh, there we go. That's a much better stop. Not perfect, but pretty close to it. But yeah, I always liked, and I would take the train when I was working here in San Mateo even. If I would go, because I was working at a National Guard unit, on orders, and if there was nothing going on that day and they were like, hey, just, go take off, so I would come over here, hop on the train, and then I would take the train up to San Francisco for the day, because there was the Sony, it was called the Metreon, and it had an IMAX theater, a regular theater. That was like in the early years of the PlayStation. They had a big old PlayStation store with all the latest games, all the new controllers, all kinds of stuff, So it was like a really cool place to go for the day. They had like little restaurants around there. So I would go up to the Metreon and just hang out up there. And I don't know that what's really there anymore. So yeah, I would go up to the city for the day and just walk around and hang out. Yeah. It's a convenient way to get to the city, and you don't. The only thing is if you want to go, like one of the places I would normally visit would be the Japanese Cultural Center, and that's farther in the city from where the train station is. So either you have to plan your walk, which it's not hard to do. It's just that it's not a straight shot to there. So you're like, you got to go up this way for several blocks, and you got to turn this way for several more, and you're zigzagging until you get there. Or you can hire a cab, and this was way before Uber or anything like that was around, but you could hire a cab to take you there, and it would be much quicker. But yeah, I always loved going up to San Francisco for a day. When I got back from Iraq after I visited my family for Christmas in 2010, yeah. So I started off 2011. I went to San Francisco. I spent like 3 or 4 days, like 4 nights, 5 days and 4 nights, something like that. So I went to stayed near the Japanese Cultural Center, like 2 or 3 blocks away. And so, I could get up in the morning. Like I walked all over the city. I really did. I walked. I went to the old Fillmore, where there's Fillmore East, and then there's Fillmore West. The Fillmore West is where, like the Grateful Dead and a lot of the Summer of Love bands got their start. And then I went down to the aquatic park, which is where they have all these old ships that you can walk around. You can walk on the ship, and they had like an old it was like a sailing boat, but it had like a motor, I think, in it. But you can go and walk around on those. You could go up by Ghirardelli Square, where they make Ghirardelli chocolate still. So I did all that, but I walked. The only time I didn't really walk was when I took the cable cars back towards where I was staying, but then it wasn't. They were doing work on the line that was closer to where I was staying, so I had to get off and walk to my hotel. And the cool thing was the hotel had a restaurant, so in the morning I could get up. They had breakfast, so I'd go down there and get corned beef, hash, and eggs, and then I would plan out my day. I'd just grab my camera and go around taking pictures. Again, if you look on my Flickr, what I experimented with, because the room that I had faced towards, like, there was a good part of downtown, not like like what is we know downtown, but it was like a very nice scenic sort of view from my hotel room. So what I did was I connected my camera to my laptop, and I put the camera on a tripod, and I took these like nighttime photos. I was experimenting, trying to get the streaks of the car lights and all that. So I was just kind of having fun with that. But that was like my main favorite place to go, was the Japanese Cultural Center, because they have like a Benihana's, which is like a chain Japanese food place, that they're all over. But then you have like these smaller family-run little restaurants that you can get sushi, or you can get, like, I think that last time I was there in the Japanese Cultural Center, this was Easter 2019, I had like smoked, it was salmon. It was teriyaki salmon. That's what it was. It wasn't smoked. It was teriyaki salmon. Oh, you get the nice thing of rice, and you get the miso soup, and a little salad with it. Yeah, really, just a chill place to go. They have a whole store. If you like pens, like writing pens, they have a whole store dedicated to pens and pencils, like writing utensils. And that's, whether you want a fountain pen, they've got all kinds of different fountain pens, regular pens, like just anything pen or mechanical pencil related, you could go there and find it. yeah, I always enjoyed. They have like a little hobby store there. If you like models, you can go there and get models from there. Um, they have a bookstore. It's all in, Japanese. So like a lot of people who are into model building, they have a magazine section with all these different magazines about models, and it's dedicated to like one specific thing. Like if you want to build a model of the F4 Phantom, they have a book, but it's in Japanese, but they show pictures and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a very, very cool place. I always enjoy going there and hanging out. All right, so we're coming into Redwood City. We're going to go past this sign. You'll see it coming up here on the right. It'll say Climate Best by Government Test underneath the sign, or underneath the words Redwood City. Here it comes. It'll be coming up any moment now. Oops. And that the sign is in fact there in real life. The street is very similar to what it would be in real life as well. So it's, there it is right there. That sign right there. Let's see if we're gonna, I think we go to Palo Alto next. Go a little bit past, but we're still on the, passengers are on the platform. That's all that matters. We're doing good on time too. Let's see if we can. Yep, Palo Alto's next. My favorite station. It's got an Art Deco styled station. So we'll pull in there and we'll see that. The sound seemed a bit off today. I don't know why. Yeah, and then you have these areas where you can walk across, but they many of the stations now, they have like a little gate that comes down that do not cross. Get the gates down. So got just under a minute to wait to go. That's our lovely MP36. So this route is there's 3 counties that basically are have a say in how the route is run, and they all have to agree on things, as far as anything that any thing money wise, the finances of the route and all that kind of stuff. I think they were supposed to have the electrification done by, I think it was supposed to be the summer of 2019 or summer of 2020, and then of course I think when the pandemic hit, a lot of stuff came to a halt. And then on top of when they were doing the environment, like the not so it's the environmental, but the checking the underneath the road bed here, the rail bed, and discovering that there was a lot of stuff that if they didn't address it, that it wasn't gonna, so that's the old system right there. train. So yeah, they had to. Everything kind of slowed way down when they discovered all that. So, but a lot of the infrastructure is already there, like the the poles that would carry the lines over the roadway or the railway are already there. It's just for them to they got to figure out how they're going to make that all work. But also, the thing that kind of struck me as odd when they were talking about electrifying it, the power grid in California itself is not very stable, unfortunately. PG&E's had numerous problems over the years. So why they would electrify the line when they don't even have a stable power grid for their residents is a bit beyond me, but there was the push to electrify everything because their feeling is that it's going to have a less of an impact on the environment. But they still got to, the power still has to be drawn from somewhere. So, yeah, a bit odd, but it is what it is. So they're still working on that. I don't know if I haven't looked to see if they have an update on the projected opening run on the Peninsula corridor on the new electrified train system. Yeah, I used to work in East Palo Alto, Menlo Park area, roughly. Spent a lot of time in downtown Palo Alto. Really nice place. There was an old, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Borders Books and Music. They're out of business now, but they had a really cool Borders bookstore, and go there and get movies and CDs and stuff. It was in an old theater in downtown Palo Alto that they converted it into the store, and so we go and spend time there. It was like, and it's got like a little courtyard, and you can get your coffee and sit out there and read or whatever, and just relax. Really cool place to go. And then on the other side of Palo Alto is Stanford University. Been there for a couple football games back when I'd always try to go when Notre Dame was in town, playing against them when they were real good. Yeah. All kinds of stuff to do in the Bay Area. This bridge is still here. I don't know if they've had to take that down for the electrification of the line or not. And of course, as you get into these areas, just off of the rail line here, you can see some very fancy houses and stuff. So yeah, here's the station right here. Let's see. Nope, still gonna go a little bit past, that's alright. So let's go back here towards the station. So yeah, there is there's a walkway underneath the rail line there. There's the station. I love this station. If I could ever get back to California and sometime soon. I could spend probably half a day just taking pictures of the station. All right, California Avenue's next. Now this is a California, so this is still part where we're going to stop at. Is still kind of part of Palo Alto. Very ritzy area itself. You know, one of those places that has like those very posh sort of apartments or condos right near the rail station here. You know, little, all kinds of boutique stores and little restaurants and stuff. A lot of outdoor dining. Well, before the pandemic, they were, you know, you could go there and sit outside and just relax and either eat or, you know, and, you know, they'd have little coffee store shops and stuff like that you could get. You could just sit there and drink coffee and people watch and stuff like that. I have mixed memories of California Avenue. Not gonna lie, but I always enjoyed it because there was like this really cool photography store was not far from the train station, so you could go up there and they had you know, all the latest cameras. If you needed a new tripod, they always had the best stuff. Of course, it was a bit pricey, but yeah, always enjoyed. And also, there was I think it's still there, Fry's Electronics, which was around way before, like Best Buy or anything like that. So they always had like the latest TVs and stuff like that. Ooh, I didn't get off the throttle. Oops, a daisy. Why am I not slowing down? Okay, we're gonna go a little bit past here. Come on, train, slow down, stop. We're still on the platform, that's all that matters. We didn't go blowing, we didn't quite blow the station, but we were close. I forgot to get off the throttle there. Oops. Yeah, Fry's is over, I'm trying to remember. Is it, you could see the station. I think it's over this way. I've looked it up a couple times, but I remember this particular road right here that you pass underneath, and then you have to do this crazy come off and loop around and all that. So I think it's over this way, but it could be over here. But the thing is a lot of it's not modeled, you know, like 100% in detail. So it's kind of, I want to say it's over this way is the Fry's, but all the posh places are over down this way, in that area. All the little restaurants and all that kind of stuff. It's a very, very relaxed sort of area, you know, to hang out. Alright, Sunnyvale's next, so we're just going to cruise right on through my other favorite spot, which is Mountain View. Used to live around there, took the train from Mountain View up to the city quite a bit. And it's one of those areas, a lot of little restaurants, all kinds of different kinds of food. They also had a microbrewery there called the Tide House that had food and made their own beer and ales and stouts. Like, my favorite was always an oatmeal stout. It was absolutely wonderful. And so we're just gonna cruise right on to Sunnyvale, and then we're gonna go on to San Jose. We'll be done. So thank you all for coming in and hanging out. Hopefully you've enjoyed the trip on Peninsula Corridor. Hadn't done this route in quite a while. We do need to do another flight around San Francisco again, just because. We've done 2 already. We did one initially, and then we did a second one. So I think it's almost time to do another one, and just tour around the Bay Area in general, all the points of interest and such. I think they finally did put one up for Alcatraz. Although, it's easy to, you know what it is on its own without a marker anyway. So. Yeah, nice to see you here. Thank you for the 100 bits there, Mick. Greatly appreciated. We will get ready to wrap this up and then take a little break, and I'll reset everything. We'll get the flight sim fired up, get a plane together, and we'll go over Rome, Italy. So do join us for that. It should be a nice scenic flight. So I think it's after this one is Mountain View. I've been all over the Bay Area. It's although a lot of it's changed since I was, last lived there, but yeah, really, most everything. I still have a pretty good memory of stuff where things are. I think when I went home for Easter, I stayed over on the coast. I found a pretty decent hotel, not far from the coast there, just south of the Cliff House. Very high-end restaurant, and the ruins for the old Saturo bathhouses. And again, lots of pictures over on the Flickr, as Mick can attest to that. Oh, there's Mountain View. That building is still there. And then this road does parallel the rail line, and then there is this bridge right here that's still there. But again, I think a lot of this stuff will have changed due to the electrification of the line. We may have had to change some things to get the lines to fit. There's a light rail line here that goes into San Jose also, but it's like a inner city sort of system. So people who live in these areas, they don't have to drive. They can take that little light rail and get to a train station, and then they can take the train to the city. So they're very good they're good in a way about the transit system, but it's not perfect in any way. But they're trying to find a perfect solution to the problem, but I don't know that it'll ever be perfect. brakes here so we have our controlled chaos going into Sunnyvale. I don't think I've ever stopped perfectly on this at this station. I always go past it. I don't know why, but I do. All right, while we got a few minutes, I'm gonna go take a quick break. I'll be right back. Look at that. Made it back, and we still have time before we leave. All right, let's get the door shut. Parking garage there. All right, one more stop and we're done. We'll take probably about a 15-minute break to get so I can get everything reset for the stream, get onto the flight sim and get a plane picked for our flight. Now, if you do get this route, I guess I'm kind of talking to you specifically, Jody. The freight services are generally done at night, so you won't see a lot of the detail. I mean, you know, it's nice to kind of just chill and do a service at night, but yeah, it's I highly recommend it. It's just a chilled route, you know. Especially with the baby bullet, you know, you can just enjoy, you know, there's these stretches. You just have to watch your speed, of course, coming into the station, because it will slow down. We'll go right by the maintenance facility here pretty soon, and then we'll kind of creep into San Jose. Now the line does continue down to Gilroy, which is south of San Jose, where it's mainly Gilroy is mainly known for the Gilroy Garlic Festival. Garlic is one of the predominant things that's grown in the Gilroy area. And certain times of the year, you can smell Like, you could just smell the garlic. So, and apparently, and I've never tried it, but my aunt said they have garlic flavored ice cream. And I don't know what it would taste like. That just doesn't sound very appealing to me, but the garlic festival is, they have all this different stuff there. But yeah, so it does go all the way to Gilroy after San Jose. But too bad we didn't get that included here with the line. I think it would have been really cool to have that as well. To be able to go all the way down there. Maybe in the future we'll have that. Considering, that they can do Sandpatch Grade or some of these other, bit longer routes, then I don't see why they couldn't add Gilroy to the line. Update everything. Alright, so pretty soon we're going to come around the corner here, and the maintenance facility. You can get a switcher as well, moving trains and treating your consist for the passenger stuff, and you can take it over to the station there in San Jose. There's all kinds of little stuff to do. It's a fun little train, something different. And then also, I think you can run stuff it'd be like another small freight service, like you run the ballast that goes underneath the rail bed, the rail ties and all that. You take some for maintenance somewhere else up on the line. There's normally a stop that we would make on a limited stop sometimes just before that 40-mile-an-hour line or sign, I believe. We would branch off and then was it back there? It's coming up. Let's see if I remember it correctly. Because there is a station that we branch off, and then once you're, it should be coming up. Or maybe it's not a branch off. No, it would be here, and then we start slowing down past here. Oh, and you can open the window here too. Yeah, after we'll see the maintenance facility coming up here in just a moment. Here it comes. There is a station here, but I don't think it's used very much anymore. So yeah, there's the maintenance facility there. So all these trains get serviced in this facility over here. Both sets of trains. There's a car wash there. Yeah, there's all these indoor facilities for maintenance. So yeah, we've been on time all whole trip, so that's good. Always helps. And just let it coast and kind of bleed off the speed on its own as we're going up this little hill. Now, this route in particular, it happens sometimes when we start off and it seems like we're running behind, but you can kind of catch up on the route. You can make up time in some places. We're just going to go right on in there. Let's see, 8:38, so it's probably going to be about 8:40-ish. So we'll start flying at 9 o'clock. So that's like 2 o'clock UK time. That one's departing, heading north. There's the arena where the San Jose Sharks hockey team plays. It's not very far from the train station. All right. There we go. There it is, folks. So that will do it for right now. I will see you all in about less than 20 minutes on our flight around Rome. So do join us for that. I'm going to take a quick break, get some more water, and get myself reset, and I will see you all in about 20 minutes. Until then, bye.